On my previous video about eBay shocks, I showed how I rebuilt this shock over here and actually made a dampening reservoir from a cheap, eBay shock. I'm going to show you again how to take another pair of cheap eBay shocks and turn them into some Poorgressives. So, what's up everybody? Bike Builder Bear in the house. God bless. Thank you for watching. Again, because of the economy and because my environment where I'm at here in California, California, I am poor. I make decent money doing pest control, but I'm poor. Paying for a house, paying for cars, paying bills out here, paying taxes, it'll bleed you dry. But let's not get on that subject. Being that I don't have a whole lot of money to spend, and I have things that I have to spend money on, like dental, surgery and stuff like that for my daughter. I can't spend my excess money in other places, so I have to come up with happy mediums. And that being said, lately on both my motorcycles I have had to opt out with a cheaper alternative, which on this bike I found a shock that looked like it had a reservoir, and unfortunately in the end it didn't. And I'm not going to stay with this shock. I am going to get a better shock. I have found a shock that's about 120 bucks that's really nice. It's going to work, but I'm going to wait. I might wait because I might try a RFY shocks, and I have to say that I have had RFYs on here before. Before I acquired the knowledge that all shock, motor, anything that has some kind of oil in it that's shipped from China has either silicone oil, which is really expensive, so you'll rare to find that, or a fish oil. Most of the stuff has fish oil. Even the motor on this bike right here, when you buy these cheap Chinese clones, they come with fish oil in the motor. So keep that in mind. When you buy these shocks, they come with fish oil in it. And there's not a whole lot of viscosities and there just isn't different weights of fish oil. It just comes out of a vat, I would believe. So that being said, on these black shocks, I'll put up a little picture. I got them for about 60 bucks because they looked like the RFYs, and I wanted to try something different for comparison and just to get my Harley on the road. I was looking to get some drag specialties or some progressives, but I don't have 300 bucks. I don't have 450 bucks right now. And I can put that money together, but it's going to take a couple of months. And I pulled apart my bike thinking that I was going to get it apart or get it back together. I was going to buy all this stuff, but I literally pulled my bike apart and Joe Biden got elected. And everything just went. No. I pulled it apart after. That'd be a lie. No, a little bit after. Joe Biden got elected. And I thought, oh no, everything's going to be fine. America will just keep going. And it's not. So, yeah. So, anyways, and these shocks, when I got these from eBay, I put them on, and immediately the back of my bike jumped like a lowrider. If I pushed the seat down with one hand, it would just boing, boing, boing. Because literally there was maybe an ounce of oil in each of the shocks, fish oil, and that is not sufficient to dampen anything. So, and they had a reservoir, a fake reservoir. The RFYs I know have a real reservoir. They have a actual nitrogen or air bladder for dampening, which works really well. I've had them on, and I'm probably I'm thinking I might buy another set of RFYs and rebuild them. Just put better grommets and put better shock oil like I did these. Because these right now, the way they're sitting is they're rebuilt with Harley Davidson Type E 10 weight shock oil right now. So what I've done to them has improved them, but we'll see what happens in time. We'll see how the aluminum bushing rings, you know, fare on time. Let's see how the what's it called, the shock rod, the piston rod, basically. Let's see if it stays straight. Let's see if these, you know, shocks don't start tweaking and bending under the weight. On the description, it says they're good for 800-pound bike, Sportster 883 Dyna, you know. So we'll see, but I might end up in the future, if I can't squeeze that money together again, I might just get a pair of RFYs and do a similar thing to this, because like I said, I've had the RFYs, which are made in China, and they ran pretty good with that fake oil and the real working dampener. So if you're wondering how I took these apart, I did all that yesterday after passing my motorcycle skills test, and I was all excited to just try to get my motorcycle on the road and go for a ride. So I'm going to grab the phone or the camera, whatever, and I am going to just point out what I did to these shocks to make them better. It's not that hard. It's a simple process. I was able to do it in about an hour, rebuild both of them and put them back together. So let's check it out. So when I found out that these aren't plumbed, they're not drilled, unlike that one is actually plumbed. That one has fluid that goes through from the main reservoir to the dampening reservoir. These did not. So when I found that out, I immediately just cut them off. I just cut them the hell off. So the way all of these shocks are, the head post always unscrews from here. As you see, I chewed it up with a pair of channel locks, but I didn't give a shit because I knew that I was going to scrunch these all the way down and I'd never be up there. I don't give a shit. I don't give a crap about these shocks. They're just to get me down the road for now. Anyways, that being said, I pulled the tops off. I loosened the springs up to where I could still get the channel locks in there. So there was a gap in there so there wasn't complete compression. And then after I dumped the fish oil out of there, I put a couple rags down on the ground over there, and then you just grab the back, squat on it, put your weight on it, actuate the shock. You don't have to do much. You just have to piss the fish oil out, and then basically put this end in a vise with the reservoir, you know, sticking up. Fill it with oil. Then while it's in the vise, clamp it real good and tight and put your weight on it and pull the shock down just a couple of times. All you need is a couple of times to get that air out from underneath the piston and the plate and the rings inside here. The top of the bar has a plate, rings, a metal like a washer that fits the diameter of the outside and holds. It's a whole. If you ever pulled apart shocks, you know what I'm talking about. And if you hadn't and you do this, then you will know what I'm talking about. And there will be a hole drilled in it, and the fluid is the dictator of your suspension at that point. The spring does what it's supposed to do, which is it just keeps the weight up. It counteracts the weight of the bike. The shock dampening is all inside here. So if you don't have the proper fluid or you don't have the proper amount of fluid, it's not going to work well. And like I said, that thing only had an ounce of fluid. So once it would go up an inch, once the shock would push up an inch, there'd be no more fluid. So it would just be air, and it would just whoo, whoo. You have to fill it all the way up to the top. Then screw that bad boy on, lock it down, then voila, you're ready to go. And that's why I'm going to call these Poorgressives. These are my Bike Builder Bear Poorgressives. And I get these for about 60 bucks. If you get a set of these and bring them to me, I'll rebuild them for you for another 60 bucks. That'd be 120 bucks. But anyways, it's simple. It's the same thing, you know, basically the same thing with that shock on the video that I did with that shock, except there's a dampener here. There's a spring-loaded piston with extra fluid to where when the fluid pushes on here, the springs counteract each other. It gives it more dampening. And that works for that because that's a long travel shock. So, that being said, thank you guys very much for watching my videos. Please like, please subscribe. God bless and have a wonderful day.